Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we have the team, and there's a lot of you from the Touchpoint Group. How are you all?
Very good.
Very
Great,
well,
Daniel.
thank you.
Really
How
good.
are you?
Awesome. So we're going to jump straight into it, and maybe we can go around the grounds, and everybody can just introduce themselves and touch on a bit about their background. We'll start with you, Frank.
Okay, sure. Frank van der Velden, CEO, co-founder of Touchpoint. Been with the business from day one.
Awesome. Tony?
I can jump in, yeah. So Tony Patrick, Head of Customer Intelligence. So my background is insights and market research. So more than a few decades of working with the insight space, particularly with the type of customers we work with today in terms of all the feedback coming through from banks, etc. So that's a brief background on me.
And you two in the bottom?
Yeah, so good to see you. My name is Sunil. I've been a non-executive director within Touchpoint for the last 4 years now. A background originally within investment banking, and then over the recent years, scaling up fintechs towards trade exits.
Nice.
Hi everyone, my name is Marsha and I'm a Chief Operating Officer, newly appointed. This is literally my first week. And my background is in the financial services, in banking and asset management, as well as in tech and cybersecurity.
Amazing. So we've got a very experienced team from all parts of the globe. And it builds for an exciting opportunity. So tell me about the Touchpoint Group. What is it? What is the origins and what do you provide?
I can perhaps answer that. Around probably just before GFC, we started working with one of the Australian major banks, and this is kind of the genesis of really what we are working on today. What that led to us experimenting with customer feedback, customer survey feedback, and we became particularly passionate to understand how to improve customer experience. Anyway, from those early beginnings, led to huge learnings about customers, and that's kind of become part of our DNA since then. And this is all around feedback data. What really excited us was actually how much customers shared. A lot of data, a lot of insights, but we realized back then that it really needed good analytics tech to make this viable for our customers to use. So as a result of that, around 6 years ago, we decided to put all our efforts into analytics and reporting around customer feedback. And we actually identified back then that the market was pretty poorly served in getting down to the detail, and that is still the same today, for stakeholders to make those decisions they need to make. So there was certainly a market gap. As a result of that, we built the AI platform, which we called Ipiphany. And this ultimately helps organizations basically optimize their customer experiences and journeys and all that kind of stuff, using customer feedback, but actually cutting all that laborious effort that many companies are involved in, even right down to reading feedback manually, believe it or not. Essentially, our vision was to create what we refer to as an AI analyst that sits on your desktop. It does all the heavy lifting for you, delivers the insights to you automatically.
Yep.
And we are a long way on that journey already. And we've got some pretty exciting customers who've come along the journey with us, like Suncorp Group in Australia, the big insurance company, Westpac Bank in Australia, even Uber has come along for the ride with us, and in the US, Verizon.
Nice. That's an exciting list of customers that you have there, and certainly builds a lot of credibility. So you've got a platform in a market that's underserved. You're providing a solution to big name players. What is the next? So what does the market look like? I mean, obviously you can the way that the world is going, and with AI, reports say it's going to be multi-trillion-dollar market, right? AI in general. But if we scale that back down to fintech, customer analytics, what does that look like? Build the picture for us, for investors who are looking at,
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, in terms of customer analytics, you're looking at a market that's around about $10 billion.
Yep.
And it's growing at around the 19 to 20% compound annual growth rate. Okay, so it's a pretty healthy market, and that I guess what we've observed is the maturity in the industry in terms of, or maturation, if you like, in terms of how companies actually using customer feedback, given that they are generally getting feedback from a bunch of disparate sources.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Marsha, you've recently joined the team, you said, and you're in the Northern Hemisphere. So tell us about your role, what you're looking to achieve, and what that looks like for Touchpoint Group.
Yes, well, I'm really excited to join. It's a fantastic team, and the product is spectacular. I'm truly blessed to be surrounded by people who care so much about what they do, and we're bringing that here to the Northern Hemisphere. So our plan is to get closer to the customers and really celebrate them, really understand how they're using the technology, what use cases they are fleshing out for themselves, and what the future might be. So we'll be speaking a lot to our customers and potential customers, together with Sunil. We actually used to work together 15 years ago at Standard & Poor's. So we are combining our experience and the background that we have together to have these conversations with the clients, and then feeding the business with all the feedback that we get to align us operationally in this hemisphere, and make sure that we are very close to our customers and partners.
Yeah. So if I'm
actually, do you mind if I jump in there?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because Marsha coming on board with us is actually really, really key. We are just onboarding Wells Fargo out of the US, the fourth largest bank in the US.
Yeah.
Now, with Verizon there, we've got Bank of Montreal there. We're about to onboard another big bank in the UK. So we need boots on the ground, and Marsha needs to lead that charge, because she's got a great operational background in terms of putting the teams together and so on. We can't do it all from down in Australia or New Zealand, which is what we're doing at the moment. Our growth is North America and the UK, followed by Europe. Actually, just a point there, Wells Fargo, one of the key reasons they came on board was our AI capability.
Yeah, that's
very interesting. Tony's been in the midst of that.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and having those big brands besides you, and supporting your business and believing in what you're doing is it's an amazing story to tell investors who want to come in, because it builds instant credibility.
Agree.
And what we're seeing as well is that there are new teams forming that are looking after AI capabilities. They're connecting with the other teams within the business. So we are getting closer to this activity and really helping out in this capacity as well. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now, if I'm putting my my customer hat on, tell me about the solution. How does it work? And we can use Wells Fargo as an example. How does it work? Tell me about what the technology does.
I can jump in here, Daniel. So at the core of it, we actually what it's doing is actually allowing our customers to actually get access to that customer data that's coming through. So at the moment, they invest a lot of money to actually invest in things like voice of customer programs. All that data is coming in. We've got digital banking data coming through, and that's all that feedback coming through from customers. So tens of thousands of pieces of feedback a month. What do they do with that? So what we're doing for them is taking away that workload, number one, because they, as Frank talked about before, sometimes there's very smart people who have to look through parts of that data to get a small part of the story. What we're doing is getting all that data in and analyzing that using our AI and natural language processing and giving that to them on a plate, in a sense, using the technology we have to it's a visually intuitive a solution. And so they can access that on their own, but we also go side by side with them. So we don't just dump technology on them, we support them. So they don't need to get new headcount. They don't need to be up-trained straight away. We can be in there on the ground with them within a few weeks to get things going. The likes of Wells Fargo, you mentioned as an example. So for them, we're going into their digital space. We're working with them on the public data that's coming through for the App Store. So for them and competitors, that's a really important piece that's rarely, if ever, done in these organizations. And so we can look side by side and see exactly how you compare, not at the high level, at the high level, that's great, but also down to very specific things. You're underperforming in this area because you're second last on this reliability issue, this specific thing. And so we can tell them where they need to focus next. And one of the most important things we do at the end of this is give confidence in decision-making, because we've got this evidence-based approach. You can then back your decision all the way because you've actually got the evidence behind you. And that's what we're doing with this data.
Okay, amazing. So,
Daniel, could I just add to that? Because I think one of the important things when you look at how we see the opportunity space, and when you leverage something like a Wells Fargo and other institutions, I think there's a number of trends that are coming together. So 70% of the financial institutions anyway, globally, are based in North America and Europe. Now, if you couple that with the trend that you see with the acceleration of challenger banks and digital banking, combine that with the amount of data that is being captured across all parts of the business, and now you're seeing budgets taking place within all financial institutions with a particular allocation towards AI-driven opportunity. I think for us, that creates the perfect storm. And where we're seeing now discussions that have taken place, where we've been engaging for some time, what you're seeing is a transition towards specific budget-led driven AI discussions within financial institutions, leveraging data. And I think this is really where we can leverage those types of opportunities that we're engaging with right now with the likes of a Wells Fargo. And we see that very much as a continuing trend to take place globally.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And you're completely correct. A lot of these big institutions have, allocated a budget for data, for AI, because they see that this is the future. Right. So, they have the budgets already secured. You come in there and tap in. So from an investor's point of view, who are looking at your opportunity as something that they may want to invest into, knowing that the biggest institutions on the planet have a budget specifically set up for what you're providing is, risk mitigation, right? There's a budget there. They have to spend it. They already know they spend it. How they interact and better understand their customers. They've already got that there. So you've touched on some of the big brands that you're working with. Tell me about other milestones you've achieved.
Okay, probably best for me. So just from a market perspective, we've opened the US market. Obviously, we've talked about Canada, UK, Australia. That's kind of where we did a lot of our learning. And more recently, India, believe it or not, that's got a very, very active banking market there. So it's still early days with that. Importantly, for investors, we've reached product market fit. And that's actually been evidenced by the fact that we've had renewals from the likes of Verizon. We're into our third year with them in the US, Bank of Montreal as well as Westpac and Suncorp Group in Australia. Suncorp Group has been a fantastic client with us along the journey. And the other milestone is we've actually developed a platform, not a single product, but a platform that we actually can create products from on a no code basis. So for example, the banking app performance product that sits on top of that. More recently, we launched a customer journey analytics product for the insurance industry. So it's relatively easy for us to actually deliver products. So there's a huge amount of potential, with that platform. In March this year, we had ChatGPT 4 was launched. That was an important milestone, and we reviewed what was available there. And so what we decided to do is we integrated ChatGPT into our platform, and we've actually we've got access to their large language models, and we've actually just recently launched a beta version of that our customers like Wells Fargo can actually experiment with. Well, we don't know where that's going to end up. The point is, we're actually on the train, we're actually experimenting, and we know that, you know, when ChatGPT 5 comes out at the end of the year, it's going to give us a huge amount more horsepower. It's a really, really neat fit for us in terms of the AI that we've already established, in terms of the industries that we're focused on. That opens up huge potential.
Okay, perfect. Now, let's get into the interesting bit that people want to find out. How much are you raising and what's it being used for?
Sorry, guys, I'm dominating this, but $2 million US we are seeking. The majority of the raise will be used to actually build our on-the-ground capability around Marsha in the UK and North America. Marsha being the important spearhead for this. We've actually got a good start on some of the brands we've talked about, so we think that's relatively straightforward for us. Secondly, underpinning the technology platform. It's software at the end of the day. It requires continued investment there to ensure we keep ahead of the curve, not behind the curve. Large language models are a case in point. And there's no end of opportunities there in terms of the text analytics and the business that we're in. And then lastly, but really important, is bolstering our marketing program so that we improve market awareness, resulting in more inbound demand. Yeah. So it's pretty simple in terms of the 3 areas.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's a simple ask to understand, and use of funds for a clear, yes, and definitely needed. So I'll leave it at that. There we can speak all night about this, but I'll leave it at that. But what you've essentially built, and the opportunity, as I understand it, is a technology company that's established, has product market fit, has huge customers that are renewing and believing in what you're doing, and the raise that you're asking for is just to further fuel this and really capture the rest of, as you said, 70% of the world's financial institutions are in the markets that you're targeting. And I think having your foot in the door with companies like Verizon and Wells Fargo makes it a no-brainer when you're talking to the other large financial institutions. So for any investors who are interested in this opportunity, I'll put my details on this. Reach out to me. I can connect you directly with the team, and they would be happy to jump on a call and go through this with you. But I want to say thanks, guys. I know you're all in different time zones to make this work. It was not a straightforward one as possible, but thank you very much for jumping on. It was great to chat to you, and I am excited to see where this goes.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.